Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and today I want to talk about Lookism, and specifically, I want to talk about my thoughts on it and how I think it had the potential. I don't think it has that anymore because of certain decisions in how things have been written, right? So I don't think it has that potential anymore, but I do believe that it did have the potential to be essentially the best. Sorry, my mic is okay. The best slice of life slash drama, school life, webtoon, manga. You know what I'm saying? It had the potential to be one of the greatest in those type of genres. Even if you want to call it action, but I prefer to say slice of life, and seinen, and definitely a lot of drama. Mystery too, sure. But he had potential to be a top tier. Especially webtoon for webtoon levels, he had so much potential to go on above and beyond what I feel it ultimately ended up doing. And there's a few reasons to why I think it couldn't reach those peaks. I think the story, I think the author didn't know how to conclude the story. I think because the story is a very confusing and interesting one in a way. I don't want to say confusing in the sense of just like, oh, it's confusing. It's confusing in the fact that, like, you have a person who wakes up and he has another body. It's not like he transforms his body into that body. He just has a whole other body. And it's like, how? What? Huh? Well, when? Right? And the thing is, 500 chapters in, not 500, almost, what's it, 200 something chapters in, and we have no idea how he got his body. And he himself has no idea how he got a second body or how it works. Because, see, the problem with the show is it's relatively grounded, especially in the early chapters. It's extremely grounded. I know it's definitely gotten a lot crazier recently. The past 60, 70 chapters have been absolutely nuts. But before all that, he was extremely grounded. It was a kid getting bullied, and his mother did all she can to allow him to move schools. He started going to a prestigious, like, artsy school where he was no longer really, I mean, he was bullied, but it was different. It was a high class school. He ended up making friends. He ended up finding a second body and started living life pretty well. And then he faced stuff of how people judged him when he was ugly, and treated him like shit because he was ugly, versus those exact same people, even though his personality he doesn't change, essentially when he's attractive, at least at first, they completely treated him different. Those same people that despised him wanted to be friends with his attractive body. So how important and valuable are looks in success in life? And it was such an intriguing and real question. And it's definitely one that I think is founded upon in reality and real life, in everyday life. I think it's pretty much proven at this stage that the more attractive you are, the easier you are to get along with people, the easier it is to make friends, the easier it is to go up in life, right? Even in football, they say the more, if you're attractive or if you have interesting hairstyles, scouts are more likely to rate you higher for doing the same shit the rest of your teammates are doing. If you score via set piece, you stand out more because it's a moment where the game stops. So these are all interesting facets that you got to think about. If somebody takes a second look at you, it increases the opportunity for them to pay attention to you, to think of you a certain way, right? And I think, like, a lot of people don't realize how much that those subtle subconscious decisions make a huge difference in how we see and interact with the world around us. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like those pair of jeans that you have to double take a look at. Damn, it's like, maybe I should get them. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they could be ugly, but that double take is like, are they ugly though? You know what I'm saying? And I think Lookism, that was the initial core of the story. It was also about a boy that didn't appreciate what his parents did for him, or his mother specifically did for him. And I think it's something a lot of us can relate to, right? Especially when you're growing up as a kid or whatever, and you don't see the sacrifices, right? You don't understand why they won't get you the latest console, why you don't have the biggest screen TV, why you're not driving a Ferrari. You don't understand these things, right? But when you grow up and start paying bills and start taking care of things and start doing things, you're like, damn, mama must have been sacrificing heavy to be able to afford all this shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Her job, I know what her job is. Now I know how much that actually pays. Like, and she got me everything I wanted. That's crazy. So what did she not get for herself in order to make sure I was smiling, make sure I wasn't complaining, make sure I wasn't kicking and screaming? And it's those little things that you really appreciate these characters for. You're like, damn, bro, these characters really went through the ringer. And especially his mother, like, his mother is like, wow, like, it's like she went through it. And you felt it, you almost cried. There's actually a few chapters I probably cried in. I'm not gonna lie, that shit was depressing. That shit was, you know what I'm saying? I had to take a break from it because it was so emotionally powerful. And then I don't know when, because look, we got stuff like God Dog and Johan and stuff like those. We had the arc with Jake. We had, you know, when they introduced us to Jake, and you know, we had a bunch of arcs where we even understood where the villains came from, right? Then we understood why he was a prick. You know what I'm saying? And Duke, that was a fantastic tale. The whole online thing, amazing, because it's like that's really what people be doing in order to get famous, right? You see people out here running naked in the streets for 1 million clicks, doing all type of crazy shit, making a fool out of themselves. Filthy Frank is a huge example. Like, I love Joji and everything, but Filthy Frank did some wild shit back in his day, all for the sake of clicks and likes and numbers and all that shit. And I think, you know, it's not really mentally healthy probably to live like that. And I think Lookism is unafraid to face these type of topics, and he did it so vehemently, so powerfully, and he still does, but no longer to the same extent. Sometimes it feels like no longer with the same emotional weight or gravitas that he used to bring forth with it. You know what I'm saying? Before, when you went into an act, like, you really got to know these characters, you really got to understand why they're doing certain things. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not always the antagonist, but the character who's being antagonized, the character who's being attacked and being bullied. You really understood how they felt about it, and why some of them started killing themselves, why some of them started killing the people bullying them, why some of them, you know what I'm saying, wanted to be a part of that, because they rather be the ones bullying than getting bullied. Johan is a great, is it Johan? No, it's not. It's Joe, what's his name? Y'all know who I'm on about. The guy's in jail. God damn it. Jiho. Sorry. Jiho. So it's one of those things that's just, why is it lagging so much, man? It's one of those things that's just super interesting, and I think back then they did such a fantastic job at displaying this. Like, Jiho breaking down was such a slow burn, and it was something that, you know, was kind of happening slowly in front of us. You can tell he always wanted this lifestyle. You can tell he always chased this lifestyle, and yet for some reason, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't feel like we get that same gravitas. I mean, we do, but there's so much goofy and weird shit in between. Like, Detective Jace, like, what the fuck is those? Like, you know what I'm saying? It takes away from the seriousness of it all. And I know that the author just wanted to have a bit of fun, but I feel like when you create a story with hundreds and hundreds of chapters of deep content, you know, that even talks about sex trafficking and all that type of shit, to start throwing in these jokes out of nowhere. Like, if the story was always like that, yeah, sure, but the jokes were always like grounded within the character is like that, and it started becoming fourth wall breaking type of shit with the detective shit, and even our boy training with a bear. Like, what? Like, they really had Vasco out here with a bear and shit. Like, those type of things, I think, yeah, it's funny for a moment, but it takes away from the overall story. You know what I'm saying? And then also the narrative just not really being focused. I mean, you know, if the narrative was used to be focused essentially on looks, right? And now it's about freaking Superman punches and Zenkai boosts and shit like those. Like, looks are no longer that relevant. They still touch on some of the deep underlying issues, but it's no longer consistent. You know what I'm saying? the show is still called Lookism. Like that still should be at the core of it. When they did the arc with the online things, it's like the hot girls just got it easy because they were hot. The ugly girls had to go through 10, like had to jump through hoops, and you see it on TikTok, right? The hot girls blow up for doing this. You know what I'm saying? But a guy's got to do 79 backflips. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, same as like unattractive guys got to do 79 backflips. A super attractive guy would be like, a million likes. A regular ass looking guy like me would have to do, you know what I'm saying, run around the world in 20 seconds or some shit in order to blow up. And, and it's Lookism, even though it's a lot of people didn't, sometimes the topics blur these lines, but it was essentially looks, right? Even those acts more recently, like the children being abandoned, that could have a lot to do with Lookism. Sometimes the parents didn't think the kids were attractive enough and threw them out. This is some reality shit that's essentially potential that happens not just in Korea. It happens actually a lot more places than people know about. You know what I'm saying? But it was great that the author highlights these moments. But I feel like the story should kind of like, obviously it doesn't have to be depressed all the time. Like I enjoy when all the kids go out and have fun together and they have shenanigans together that's grounded within that world, you know what I'm saying, and it doesn't break fourth wall or the laws that the world itself created. Like even that episode where Mira and Zack went, they were taking care of a baby of Eli's baby. That was a phenomenal chapter. You know what I'm saying? It was a fun and phenomenal chapter. Those are the type of chapters that you can use to elevate or take away from all the serious shit. Now it feels like every chapter is fist throws, all that shit. But I think currently, since we got to Summer Soul and that, I feel like we've been kind of getting back to the essence. Although the Summer Soul arc seemed to have way more potential, but the execution ultimately ended up being action, 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 action. Which I think the action should only occur in the climax. If you go back to the God Dog's arc, right? Most of the story was about their friendship, and yes, there was minute actions in between, but those actions had meaning, right? Those actions had meaning, overwhelming, like overarching meanings and overarching like results. You know what I'm saying? It had there was more to those actions than just let's have fights for fight's sake, right? And when Zack was protecting Johan, and then Johan just became stronger than Zack, and you know what I'm saying, and Zack was working hard and trying to be a good friend, and then they and they became best friends, and the three of them were like the three amigos. They got the wristbands together, all that shit. And then that separation and how it occurred and why it occurred, and how you understand why Zack would never let Johan go. Almost the Sasuke and Naruto arc, you know what I'm saying, where it's like Sasuke has the curse mark, right? You know what I'm saying? So he's leveling up at a different rate, and Naruto is still trying to catch up. I feel like that's what Zack and Johan's story is, in many ways, except Sakura actually might like Sasuke type shit. Sorry, Sakura might actually like Naruto type shit. You know what I'm saying? And like I think that's what's intriguing about it is, like when they told those stories back then, it was like you were just taken away. Sometimes you checking out these stories, you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Tom pulling up half naked. Like, is he supposed to be a pervert? Like, where's the underlying? I mean, there's definitely an underlying thing there that he's, but I feel like there's no real message to him doing that. He's just a creep. But there's no, I don't know. There's no overarching. There's nothing from it. Like, there's nothing we take from that. It's just weird to read. Like, Hostel, the family thing, brilliant. But why do they call each other's daddies and mommies and uncles? It's weird, right? Like, what? They're all like 2 years older than each other type shit. Like, nobody, like, it's just weird. It's creepy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Uncle. Like, oh, you calling me uncle? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's different saying it in Korean. But then the translators got to do a better job of portraying that. You know what I'm saying? Like, change it to cousin or some shit, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Just make it. And that's the problem with translations as well. Sometimes it does take away from the essence of what the story is really trying to tell. But I feel like a great written piece should be able to transcend all those. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's my overall thoughts on this on Lookism. I still love it, but sometimes it will be annoying. Some characters I feel like are are kind of left in the dust or underdeveloped a little bit. Some arcs are kind of like, yeah, okay, we got it. You know what I'm saying? Like some arcs don't need to be as long as they are. Eli Zhang's arc was great at the start, and then he just kept going and kept going and kept going, and it was like you could compress that arc into five solid chapters and create a way more compelling story, right? That's why they again, I keep bringing back the God Dogs one. It was so great because it wasn't too long. Same as a Vasco's arc, that shit was phenomenal because it wasn't too long. It was to the point. It was deep. It was emotional, and then you saw the results of that and continue to see the results of those experiences to him, and the friendship between him and Jace, and why Jace would never leave him. You know what I'm saying? And it's those type of things that really connect people to characters. But now a lot of those characters are kind of been in the back burner for a long time now, and I think there's enough to the story, and enough unimportant stories that are taken for like the forefront of the story and the narrative that could be put in the back burner for these characters that do need these screen times. You know what I'm saying? Zack gets his fair due. Vasco used, like, not really lately. He's kind of been a cameo, second hand character lately. The girls have just, I mean, nobody knows where they are. I know that Crystal, I think, should have played a much bigger role in the Samuel So arc. Considering, like, when you're talking about Hostel, when you're talking about Big Deal, when you're talking about all these major crews, Crystal is a key part in that. She knows all about those situations. So I feel like, those more we can learn about her, those things there that could make, instead of throwing some of those boring things or some of those funny things, show us these guys. Like, for example, what happened to the girl with the fox suit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to her? Like, what's her story? Like, you know what I'm saying? She was there doing crazy shit, tricking people and working with Samuel Soul, and then boom, what's the result? Nobody cares. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? So it's those type of things where it's like it feels unfinished. You know what I'm saying? It feels like they introduce characters and then don't give them the full fledged attention I think they deserve. You know what I'm saying? Or they could get. I don't want to really say deserve, I suppose, but that's my thoughts on it, man. That's honestly my thoughts on it. What do you guys think, man? Comment down below. I still love Lookism, still one of my favorites. I still pay for that dish all the time. You know what I'm saying? These webtoons is making me broken shit, but we gotta do what we gotta do to support their content because they're supporting me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just look, if you fuck with this content, leave a like and a comment and subscribe, man. Whichever one of those you can do that's easiest. Subscribing is it helps the channel a lot more because we're really trying to reach that 600. And yeah, more content is coming through every single day. I drop a video. I mean, most days I might miss a day or two in a week, but at least five days a week I post. But these days I'm trying to go for 7. So this is my second video today, and I'm saying hope you enjoy it. It's been your boy Supreme Chae the God, and I'm out.